Stop scrolling and look carefully at the three objects in front of you: a Victorian mourning ring, a cracked porcelain doll, and a blood-stained ledger. Don't choose the one that looks the coolest. Don't choose the one that looks the safest. In fact, don't think about your answer at all. Just look at them. Which one did your eyes go to first? The ring, the doll, or the ledger? Have you chosen? Good. Remember your answer, because according to the Fear Keeper archives, you didn't choose the artifact chose you. Greetings, seekers of the strange and the unexplained, and the things that should have remained forgotten. I am the Fear Keeper, and tonight, I'm not opening a fear file. I'm opening the vault. There are objects in this world that shouldn't exist. Objects that have passed from owner to owner for decades, sometimes centuries, leaving behind stories nobody can completely explain. Most eventually disappear. Some are destroyed, and a very small number find their way to me. Tonight, I've removed three objects from the deepest section of my collection. Each carries a different history, a different darkness. And according to the records, each searches for a different kind of person. You already made your choice, so don't change it now. Even if you begin wishing you had, let's find out why your artifact chose you. The Victorian mourning ring, the weight of grief. The ring first appeared in England in 1886. Its original owner was supposedly a widow named Eleanor Harrow. After her husband's death, Eleanor commissioned a mourning ring in his memory. Black stone, gold setting, and beneath the stone a lock of his hair. Eleanor wore it every day. Then something strange began happening. Every night at exactly 2:17 a.m., she woke to the sensation of someone sitting beside her. The mattress would sink, the room would become cold, and she'd smell her husband's cologne. At first, Eleanor considered it a blessing. She began speaking to the empty side of the bed. Then something started answering. Not with words, with knocks. One knock meant yes. Two meant no. Soon, Eleanor stopped leaving the house. Neighbors said they sometimes saw her standing at an upstairs window smiling at someone standing beside her. Except she was always alone. When Eleanor eventually disappeared, investigators found her bedroom untouched. The blankets were neatly folded, the windows were locked, and sitting in the center of the mattress was the mourning ring. Years later, another person bought it, then another, then another. Every owner reported the same thing: the feeling that someone they lost had returned. But eventually, the presence would begin asking them not to leave, not to move on, not to forget. So if you chose A, the ring doesn't represent weakness. Within the legend, it seeks people who hold tightly to what matters to them: memories, people, moments, things they aren't ready to leave behind. But the ring carries a warning. There is a difference between remembering the past and allowing the past to keep you prisoner. And if you chose the ring, perhaps something in that story called to you. The cracked porcelain doll. The doll has no known maker, no manufacturer's mark, and no recorded owner. The first confirmed photograph of it was taken in 1912. It shows a beautiful porcelain doll sitting inside an immaculate nursery. Perfect dress, perfect hair, perfect painted smile. Except for one tiny crack beneath its left eye. The family who owned the house hated that crack. They repeatedly hired craftsmen to repair it. Every time the repair appeared flawless, and every morning the crack returned. Then another appeared across the forehead, along the cheek, across the mouth. But here's where the story becomes strange. As the doll deteriorated, the house became more beautiful. Scratches disappeared from furniture, cracks vanished from walls, broken objects somehow repaired themselves overnight. Everything became perfect, except the doll. One evening, the family locked it inside a cupboard. The following morning, the entire house was spotless, not clean, perfect. Every chair aligned, every picture straight, every object exactly where it belonged. And the doll, it was sitting at the dining room table, his porcelain face completely fractured and still smiling. The family abandoned the house that afternoon. Decades later, investigators supposedly found the doll inside waiting. So if you chose B, the legend says the doll is drawn toward people fascinated by what hides underneath appearances. The beautiful thing with the crack nobody notices, the smile hiding something underneath, and the seemingly perfect room with one door nobody opens. The doll's warning is simple. Perfection can hide damage, and sometimes the crack is the only honest part. But there's another reason this artifact bothers me. I've seen something remarkably similar before. A certain entity inside the Fear Keeper archives. Puppet. Whether they're connected is a file for another night. The blood-stained ledger. The depth of ambition. The ledger was discovered inside the ruins of a private estate in 1903. Its pages contain thousands of handwritten transactions, property, businesses, deaths, names. But toward the back of the book, the entries changed. Instead of money, people began appearing as payments. Beside every name was something that person desperately wanted. Fortune, influence, success, recognition, and beside each desire was a price. Nobody knows who wrote the ledger. But according to the archive, several names inside belonged to people who became extraordinarily successful shortly after signing it. Then years later, they vanished from history. Portraits disappeared, records changed. Family photographs no longer contained them. It was as though the world itself collected its debt. There was one blank line remaining when the ledger entered the Fearkeeper archives. There still is. I've never written on it, and I never will. So if you chose C, the ledger represents hunger. Not literal hunger. The hunger to create, to achieve, to become something greater than you were yesterday. Within the ledger seeks people who looked at a locked door and immediately wonder what's behind it. But its warning may be the most dangerous of all. Wanting something isn't a danger. Forgetting what you're willing to lose to obtain is. And whatever you do, don't sign the final page. The final mirror, the cost of recognition. Now you know your artifact, the ring, the doll, or the ledger. Maybe its story felt strangely familiar. Maybe you hated what you chose. Maybe you're thinking about changing your answer. Too late, because I haven't told you everything. When those artifacts entered the Fear Keeper collection, they weren't cataloged as 3 objects. They were 4. A ring, a doll, a ledger, and a mirror. The mirror was different. It didn't have an owner. It didn't have a curse written in the archive. It didn't even have a reflection. Until someone stood in front of it. The person would see themselves holding one of the other 3 artifacts. The artifact they desired most. The artifact they feared most. Or perhaps the artifact that already knew them. Nobody ever determined which. Eventually, I sealed the mirror away. At least I thought I did. Because according to the final line of the archive, the mirror doesn't need glass. It only needs someone willing to look. And tonight, you've been looking the entire time. So take one final look at the screen. Don't look at the ring. Don't look at the doll. Don't look at the ledger. Look at your own reflection. Because maybe tonight's question was never, which artifact did you choose? Maybe the real question is, which one has been waiting for you? If you chose A, comment ring. You chose B, comment doll. If you chose C, comment ledger. And tell me something else. Did your answer change after hearing the stories? Because if enough of you dare to enter the vault again, there are plenty more objects where these came from. So subscribe to VM Video Master and join me for the next archive. And if you want to venture even deeper into the Fear Keeper universe, including exclusive creations and more from behind the archives, you can join me on my Patreon, which I'll put in the link in the comments below. Until next time, remember, some objects are lost, some objects are found, and some objects find you. I'm the Fear Keeper, and this archive is sealed.